Maxie family, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel today. Now obviously my face is naked, and that's because we're going to be testing out some face products today, and well, I really don't care if anybody sees me without makeup on. So if any of you want to sound off in the comments down below about how horrible my eyebrows are or how hideous I look without makeup on, go right ahead. I live with this face every day. Don't think I don't know. Get out of here, Stacy! So for today's video, we are going to be comparing the Real Techniques Diamond Sponge. I don't know if that's its name, it's got a really long name. Miracle Diamond Sponge, the Bold Metals Collection Diamond. Okay, it's just the Diamond Sponge, okay, from Real Techniques. This guy, we're going to be comparing this to our old faithful, the Beauty Blender. Yes, I am well aware that this thing looks filthy, okay? I clean it before I use it, not after I use it. Don't pretend like you don't do that. Don't pretend. Don't pretend. So I know that the Diamond Sponge has been out for a while and I am late to the Diamond Sponge train, but at least I'm on it at all. So I'm really excited to see if this works as well as the Beauty Blender because I don't like the orange sponge from Real Techniques. Not that it's a bad sponge, not that it's horrible or terrible or anything like that. I just prefer my Beauty Blender. So I'm seeing today if this is able to knock the Beauty Blender off its throne. So let's quickly go over just a few of the differences between the sponges before I even use it. So with the Diamond Sponge, there are 13 facets all the way around the guy, which just means there are 13 flat surfaces on the sponge itself. Now I'm anxious to see if that is a good or a bad thing with this sponge. It also says it's 900 carats. I have no idea what that means. Just like with the Beauty Blender, it does come to a point at the top, but this point is much more sharp than the Beauty Blender. Also kind of cool with the Diamond Sponge, each Diamond Sponge is unique in its own way with its little marbling design. So right off the bat with the consistency or the feel of the two sponges, the Beauty Blender sponge is slightly softer as where this is slightly firmer, but I will say it doesn't feel quite as firm as the orange sponge did. Also, I think it might just feel slightly firmer because it is slightly bigger. So the next thing that I do want to see is how much this guy expands to see if it gets as big and fluffy as our Beauty Blender sponge. So it's time to apply some water. And it does swell up quite a bit, just like with the Beauty Blender. I don't want to say it doubles its size, but maybe it's a fourth of its size it grows. Again, the texture is slightly more dense with the Diamond Sponge, but we're gonna see if that really makes a difference. Okay, so I am going to apply foundation to this side of my face with the Beauty Blender and then this side of my face with the Diamond Sponge, and we are going to see which one applies better or if this guy holds up to the almighty Beauty Blender. So already to my face, I did prime it. It is set and ready to go, and if anyone is interested in what primer I use my NYX Angel Veil Primer. This stuff is dabomb.com. The foundation I am going to be using today is a full coverage foundation. I am actually going to be mixing my Kat Von D Lock-It with a Wet n Wild's new Photo Focus foundation. And we're going to go in with our Beauty Blender first. Okay, so with the Beauty Blender, as always, it gives me a nice, flawless, like airbrushed feel to my foundation, but it is always a little bit of a pain in the behind to get around my nose area. Sometimes I feel like I have to like pull my nose over and reveal the crease and then begin patting it in. But either way, this guy always works out flawlessly for me, so now it's time to do the other side. Okay, so right off the bat with this guy, it's awkward to hold while you're bouncing it. Also, I know you're supposed to use like the flat surface, and I don't with my Beauty Blender sponge. I don't use the bottom, I always use the side. I will say it was easier to get around this area, the actual like the points on the sides or where it comes to a point, it was really nice to be able to get in that crease. But I will say I don't feel like it deposited. I feel like I'm slightly patchy. Okay, so now it's time to see how well it holds up with concealer. So with my concealer every day, I dot some up here, down the nose, a little bit here on my chin because I get really red there. I blend that out first and then I do my eyes. Okay, and now we're going in with the Real Technique sponge. By the way, I am using my Tarte Shape Tape for this. Forgot to mention that. So now I'm going to do under my eyes, and I just do a streaky under my eyes, and then we make this triangle here. So we highlight while we conceal, because that's how I roll. Again with the Beauty Blender. And now with the Diamond Sponge. Okay, so with the Diamond Sponge for concealer, I still felt that awkward bulkiness, but I will say that this is where this tip comes in really handy with concealer. I liked that it was so easy just to get up in this, you know, your inner corner where your tear duct is. This little triangle piece fits so nice, as where with the Beauty Blender sponge, I gotta kind of roll it and like pull on the skin almost a little bit. So I will say for a concealer, I really liked how this fit right up in there, and it fits right along my nose as I was blending. I will say it again, it doesn't deposit quite as much product on the skin. It does lift a little bit of the concealer away. I noticed that the most on my forehead and on my chin, but for the most part, I really like this for concealer. So let's see now how it holds up with powder for the bake. Okay, so for powder, I use my Coty Air Spun powder in translucent, extra coverage. So I like to get my Beauty Blender sponge nice and saturated with powder, and then I like to go right in my area here, under the eyes, to bake. Okay, so now with the Real Technique sponge, I'm going to picks up product really nice, picks up the powder. And oh, see how it just fits right there, so nice. Oh, and it goes right up under the eye line. Oh, that's so nice. Okay, so as for the powder purposes, I know I look crazy, we'll wipe it off here in a minute, just let me bake, okay? So I really do actually almost prefer this guy for powdering and, it seems, conceal. Okay, so let me wipe off my bake, put some eyebrows on so y'all don't have to keep looking at this weird alien creature just staring back at you. And then we're going to go over my final thoughts about the Diamond Sponge. Okay, so now that I've done the sloppiest application of my makeup I have ever done, we are going to discuss my final thoughts on the Diamond Sponge versus the Beauty Blender. So let's go over the negatives first. The first negative is, I will say, it just is really uncomfortable to hold, as where the Beauty Blender is really nice and easy to hold. This is a little bit more awkward. It just feels awkward holding it and bouncing it on the skin. The second negative that I have is I feel like it doesn't deposit the foundation or the product that you're using quite as well as the Beauty Blender. I do feel like I get a little bit of lift of product as opposed to just a straight deposit from this guy. I might have had it slightly too damp, but it doesn't feel too damp. It felt just the same as the Beauty Blender. I dampened them the exact same way, and I squeezed out the excess water the exact same way. So I don't know if anyone else maybe experiences this, but I will say it just doesn't deposit quite as much as the Beauty Blender, but I don't think that's a huge issue. Just being aware of that when you're using it. So those are my only two real negatives. Let's go over some of the positives from this guy. I will say that this point on the end is incredibly helpful and useful, much more than the Beauty Blender sponge, where the Beauty Blender sponge doesn't come to quite as fine of a point. This one comes to much more of a point, making it super easy to get up in this inner corner of the eye. Another positive is I will say that this is much quicker than the the Beauty Blender. With foundation, with concealer, with powder, it's just a bigger tool, so of course it is going to cover a bigger area quicker than the Beauty Blender would. I really like this. I will say the texture, again, that doesn't bother me. Nothing like that bothers me. The only real negative for me is the fact that it is kind of awkward to hold. The not depositing as much product, I can live with that because I can just maybe apply a little bit more or whatever, but it's just slightly awkward to hold. I wish it was not as awkward, but I love the fact that it's a diamond shaped, so I'm gonna look past it. The only other thing that is a super positive, and the thing I haven't mentioned yet, which this is the biggest point, is that this guy retails for around $20 and this guy retails for around $10. But really there is a $10 difference, and I don't think that the small negatives that come with this guy make this more worth the buy. So I really think that this is an awesome sponge. It is an awesome tool to use in place of the Beauty Blender because let's be honest, these are expensive. They're at 20 bucks a pop, man, and having to replace it every 3 months, even though I really don't. I keep mine a lot longer. Don't tell anybody, oh well. I would say this is a great sponge. I won't say that this is better than the Beauty Blender, but it is definitely a really good matchup or a quote-unquote dupe for the Beauty Blender, and I would highly suggest this product to anybody, especially because it's in the shape of a diamond. I mean, who doesn't love diamonds? Diamonds are a girl's best friend, don't you know? So that's it for my Versus video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you would like to see more Versus products from me, where you would like to see me compare one product that is similar to another product, have them go head to head and hear my thoughts, let me know down below. I will do more videos like this. I thought this was really fun, kind of a cool experiment, and I would really just love to hear what you guys think. So let me know down below. Also, if you are not yet a member of our Foxy tribe, go ahead and hit that subscribe button before you leave on out of here, but only if you want to, not because I told you to, only if you're like, man, this girl is crazy and I want to be a part of this, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then you can call yourself a Foxy family member. Ow! All of my social media links are going to be in the drop a bar down below. Also, a link to where you can get one of these, also a link to where you can get one of these, and I can't wait to be seeing you on my very next video. I love you guys so stinking much, you have no freaking idea. Seriously, I love you. I love you. I can't wait to see you next time. Okay, bye. Bye.